despair. What a scene! Over men and horses, hoops and riders, lastly to a hogshead of real fire. In this way, Mr. K will challenge the world. Celebrated Mr. K performs his feat on Saturday at Bishopsgate. The Hendersons will dance and sing as Mr. Kite flies through the ring. Don't be late. Messrs. K and H assure the public their production will be second to none. And of course, Henry the Horse dances the waltz. When Mr. K performs his tricks without a sound, and Mr. H will demonstrate 10 somersets he'll undertake on solid ground. Thinking some days in preparation, a splendid time is guaranteed for all. And tonight Mr. Kite is topping the bill.
Okay, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite is maybe the weirdest song the Beatles ever recorded, but maybe not. There's a lot of strong contenders for that award. This one is just so weird. And I remember first discovering this as a kid. So I got like cassette tapes of Anthology 2 as a kid, and that's when I first started to listen over and over because I didn't have the Sgt. Pepper's record yet. And it was at the time kind of like, you can do this in music? Like, you're allowed to do this kind of thing. I just felt like the Beatles were just really breaking boundaries here and getting so crazy, which I think pretty much music historians, scholars, textbooks all agree with. Like, when they did Sgt. Pepper's, they were really just like breaking boundaries and just going above and beyond what had been done before. And it was really avant-garde for rock and roll. Now, I know that they were getting ideas from a lot of other bands. I know the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, and I know the Doors, and I think non-music things that were going on, just philosophies and ideas and current events. Or in this case, events from the previous century, the circus that was coming to town. Like, it's really interesting. It's such a cool piece of work. And I do think that there's a bunch of stories about how it came to pass and, who wrote it and whatnot. But I tend to believe John when he said that they just kind of wrote it and there's really no extra meaning behind it or anything. It's just a pure tune and just is what it is. So I love it, and I love the weirdness of it. Let's talk about the drums. So because the Beatles were doing a thing where they were no longer going to be performing live, they were recording tons of stuff. They could layer on all kinds of stuff because they weren't going to perform this live on a tour. Well, there's so much sound in this that it's hard to hear the drum mix. And even when you deconstruct the track and strip everything out, the sound and the signal is just so so much has happened to it by then, it's hard to hear what's going on. So I deliberated a lot listening to this. I listened a ton, and before I transcribed anything, I was just trying to figure out, what am I hearing in terms of what parts of the kit is Ringo using? Is he using the snare drum? Is he going like this? Maybe with something on there to really muffle it. And I thought for a while, yeah, there is. And then I was like, no, I think it's tom. Maybe it's just this tom. Wait, maybe he's hitting this tom. Well, actually, I think there is snare drum. Well, actually, there isn't. So I deliberated a ton, on what he's doing. And after just all that listening and research and everything I could think of and trying different things, what I just played for you now is what I really think he was doing. And my goal, of course, is to recreate what Ringo did. So he's using the high tom as a backbeat. It's way muffled, so I had to put some muffling on here to try to recreate that. But there's a lot of kick in there. When he's playing his rock groove, it really is. I think it's just every quarter note, 4 on the floor. But then when he moves over to the cymbal, where it's more of a straight up rock beat, I think he's playing the kick on the backbeat, but also the pattern too. Like that, which is pretty weird. You usually do one or the other. You either keep straight time, 4 on the floor with your backbeat, or you play some kind of interesting pattern. Not both. So that's really interesting and just a little odd, but it's also very Ringo-ish. The rest of the tune, his bass drum is just so consistent. It's so good during the verse, and he's got so much subtlety on the hi-hat again. You don't hear hard, fast closes after he plays it. You could get really heavy-handed, and if you had no nuance at all, you could play, you know, or you could hit it every time you close it. That would make such a different vibe. That would give it such a different flavor. Ringo's very, very subtle, and I'm being very conscious as I'm playing, not only to have consistent sounds like and timing, but I'm trying to get the hi-hat sound to just die away without a hard ending every time the bass drum note comes around. That's tricky to do. But if you listen closely to Ringo doing it, it's like flawless. It's amazing. It's amazing how good it is. Now this tune, besides just being weird for what it is and sounding a bit like it came out of a nightmare, it's weird musically. So academically, we like to define the form of a tune. That's been done for hundreds of years, and it was all the rage when, you know, classical composers were doing their thing. Form is really important for Western music. It's pretty common to have like verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, something like that, which you could call A, B, A, B, C, A, B. So A being verse, B being chorus, and C being bridge. Well, if you use that same academic slang, the form for this tune is A. There's just one harmonic structure for the verse, and that's all it is. It's just verse, 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 verse. Now there's the instrumental break in the middle, but it's over the same harmonic structure. It's the verse. They change it with a really cool time change and tempo change, but still it's A, which is super like unique. Just that's really weird. And I think it was the first time the Beatles ever did that, and it maybe be the only time they ever did that. Just no bridge or chorus or anything else, just the same structure. The time change is cool. They go to this 3/4, but it's also a tempo change, which I never really thought about before. Even being a drummer and just being hyper aware of phrasing and tempo and stuff, I never realized that it's really a tempo change too, because you've got this tempo going on, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I keep that when I go to 3/4, it would sound like. That would be a change to 3/4 with no tempo change. The tempo speeds up. The quarter note becomes pretty much the dotted quarter in the 3/4 section. So that's really cool. This intuitive kind of speed it up. And when you do it mathematically like that, where quarter note equals dotted quarter, it doesn't feel like that it speeds up there at all. So that's kind of cool to me. That it creates a bit of an illusion there that they go to this waltz feel, and it doesn't feel that out of place or different. That's cool. Also, the verse is like a 7 plus an 8. That's weird too. You don't really notice, and I never noticed there was 7-bar phrase. So the whole part where Ringo's doing this, that's 7 bars long before he gets into kind of his rock beat stuff. Just really interesting musically. Some information out there says that there's tambourine by both George and Ringo. Maybe there's different tambourines. Some say George played maracas, others don't. I'm not really sure with the auxiliary. I just used what I had, which is this tambourine that I did, and that adds a lot of cool stuff to the tune. It's kind of big for this. I think they maybe had a tiny tambourine, that's my guess, but it just adds a fun little flavor to the tune, so I added that in. And I wasn't sure if I heard any maracas, so I didn't do anything there. Maybe one day I'll be listening through and it'll just hit me. Hey, there's the maracas. I don't know. But this is my best guess. I hope you like my version of it. Ringo's drumming is just so cool. It's so different. It's so interesting how it fits the tune. It's circus drummer-ish. You know, that's a real thing. There used to be live bands at the circus, and the drummer would have to like follow what was going on with the act. I mean, this still does happen, but not nearly as common as it used to be. And you're playing crashes when the acrobats catch the bar and when they do their stuff, and there's all these rolls, there's all kinds of drum roll, when it's leading up to a suspenseful moment. So the only time he uses the snare is for that suspenseful drum roll, like here we go back to center ring to start the verse over. So it's kind of playful and fun that way. It's thoughtful, and it's super cool. I love it. I love this weirdness of the Beatles. I love what they were doing at the time. I love Ringo's drumming, and Ringo Starr is the man. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.